Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Hello. Welcome to Tuesday.
Our friend Emma is trying to connect again. Bless her heart. Emma with the terrible Wi-Fi.
Is she in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that would go figure.
Goth Emma, our friend Goth Emma. Yeah. Welcome to Sid City Social Club meeting for Tuesday, November 17th.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you all.
Okay, we have a birthday to celebrate that happened this past weekend, so we're going to go to Mu'uin.
Wow. Hi. Hello. That's really unexpected. Thank you, Mel.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, Sid.
Well, can everybody, you know the drill, guys.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday
to you!
Happy birthday! Oh, thanks, everyone.
Hello, baby.
How are you? We talked not very long ago.
Yeah, we talked before semester started. So that's like...
Hi, lovely one. That's someone else.
Baby, yeah.
She wants to get involved, or he wants to get involved too.
And here's my roommate, who is also my classmate. And
nice to meet you. Real pleasure to meet you.
Too. I see your face quite often.
I apologize.
Oh, please, no, it's fine. You can hear the guinea pigs. They are very rude.
They sound rude. I don't know what they're saying, but I bet in guinea pigese it's really filthy.
Would you like to see the filthy?
I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them. They clean their mouths out with soap.
Here's one.
My goodness, you're huge.
They're very large.
They are huge. They're massive. They're like cats. They're just fast.
They're like really we've affectionately referred to them as poop potatoes.
Yeah.
Because they're potato shaped and they poop.
That's a big
Yeah, they eat and they poop. If you listen really closely, he makes really funny noises.
So adorable. It's such adorable.
All right, so that's the dose of fluff.
What's his name?
This one is Sleepy. Long story short, sometimes you adopt a trio of rescued sisters, and they come with stowaways. So you think you're adopting 3 guinea pigs, but you end up adopting 10 guinea pigs. Bonus, haha. And so because there were 2 litters between the 3 females that I adopted years ago, there were 7 pups between the 2 litters, and so therefore we went with the 7 dwarves because it really was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and so it happened.
Absolutely.
And also, adorable. You can't actually sex them until they're 3 weeks of age. So 7 dwarves are great, sex neutral names for baby guinea pigs. So
hi, what's up?
It's a zoo in here. Well, thank you for bearing witness to the mayhem.
Thank you for introducing us to this lovely creature.
And thank you for giving my roommate much joy.
Wow,
that's frequently.
Our pleasure. All mutual.
We do desperately cling to it in the profession that we have chosen.
My roommate hasn't feel the glory of Deep Space Nine yet, but she will.
I'll get there. I'm the kind of person, when fandom happens to me, it happens hard, and therefore I'm just like waiting for the day that
we will time it. We'll time it to coincide with your finals, and there will be a test.
Excellent.
Just to put a little pressure on you there.
That'd be great.
That's how it usually works.
Thank you for bringing a ray of sunshine into our lives.
No problem.
Really, really sweet of you. It's been delightful.
Yeah.
And we look forward to the next catch up. We might record the
good.
guinea pig stuff if that's okay with you, because that's just too cute not to share. It's lovely talking to you both. Thank you very much. All 3 of you.
Yes,
thanks. I'm glad Sleepy made your day because he's very cute.
He is very cute.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
All right, we're going to go over to Melissa O, the other Melissa, the third Melissa.
The third Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you?
Delaware.
Another place that's kind of in the news.
Yes. In fact, The day after Biden did his speech, I went over there just to take a look.
And to Wilmington.
Yeah, I went there after work and there was all this confetti everywhere and it was just kind of a mood. Like,
Wow,
it's
that must be
exciting.
quite something, because Delaware is one of the states that people forget to name if they're going to name 50 states in the United States. It's like, oh, I forgot Delaware.
There's that joke, Delaware?
I've
I've never actually heard someone ask that, but yeah, that's the joke.
So Delaware, for people who aren't in the States, is Northeast United States, right?
It's in the center of the East Coast. We're right below Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. So
Yeah, we're known for our beaches and our tax-free shopping. So
really,
a lot of-
tax-free shopping.
yeah.
Wow. And how are you guys dealing with the whole pandemic?
I feel like we're doing okay, but I don't really follow it too closely anymore. When this all started, I was glued to the news and I was as panicked as everybody else was, but I burned out pretty quickly and I kind of just turned it off. But
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing okay. Like, I don't know, when everyone else started shutting down around us, Delaware decided we were just going to follow suit. But our cases never got really bad.
Never crazy.
Yeah.
And do you live with a family? Do you live alone? How's your situation?
I live in a house that I bought 2 years ago, and I have 2 rooms to rent out, although currently only one of the rooms is full because unfortunately I had the other roommate move out right before shutdown started.
Right, so you couldn't get anybody in.
Yeah, but my family's nearby.
Right. And what do you have you been able to hold on to a job during this time, or have you been in trouble?
Yeah, I mean, things are not too great at the moment, and I've been trying to change jobs because I'm stuck in a retail job currently, which is not ideal. But the other part of supporting myself is renting out the rooms, of course, and I've got that one empty room.
It's not going to work. That's not easy. And so do you interact with customers in the retail world?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty uncomfortable.
At first, it was a little nerve-wracking, like, what was that going to mean? But I mean, now that everyone's wearing masks, I don't really worry about it.
Yeah.
For some reason, people seem to think that when they need to talk to you, like if I'm asking them a question and they're giving me their address or something, they need to pull down their mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, can you?
Yeah. You don't need to pull down. I can still hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to meet 45, 50, maybe 100 people each day like you. So please keep your mask on.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, are you in a chain or are you in a boutique? What sort of store do you?
Yeah. I work at a shoe store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And does that give you, like, I used to work in a shoe store. Well, it was a shoe store and clothes as well, but I did for about 3 or 4 years. And I was the only person who was steadily demoted in the store. Actually, that's not true. I kind of started off as a junior and then got up to an assistant manager and then ended up as the delivery driver.
It's not the shoe store that you probably, most people remember back in the day. It's a large chain and we don't do a lot of hands-on helping the customers.
Yeah. Ours wasn't like that. We had to learn how to spit polish shoes because all the shoes on display were not the shoes that we sold to customers. They were replicas of the shoes we sold to customers, but we polished those shoes so beautifully.
You worked at a really nice shoe store. That's not.
It was really nice. It was really nice. It was actually a second-hand clothes store that also sold shoes.
Oh, okay.
I'm still to this day very proud that I know how to spit polish shoes.
Yeah, that's a good skill to have.
It's a thing. So do you have any pets? Do you have any love for, do you have that kind of thing going on in your house?
I don't have any pets. I would like to have a dog. My parents have a miniature poodle Maltese mix that they got last 4th of July. So she's just over a year old and she's the cutest thing. So I'd like to go visit their dog. She's adorable.
Yeah. I don't know if you've been here very long, but I've had these themes over the months, really. What I've been talking about recently is love, because I think we should talk about it all the time because we need to, because really it's missing from our national debate. Yeah. And I think that, and I'm really curious to know what you think, what it means to you, how it hits you, that word.
I don't really think in terms of love exactly so much, but like every day I'm interacting with people, right? And I I mean, you kind of have to, but I try to go about my day with compassion and empathy for other people.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of the only way sometimes you can have patience for some of the things that people put you through.
Absolutely.
You never know what somebody else is going through.
Yeah.
So no matter how ridiculous they're acting or dramatic they're being or manipulative, you just kind of gotta keep a cool head and like, it doesn't reflect well on yourself when you're like losing your temper or something. So
Totally agree.
before I forget, I think when I had first started watching the videos on YouTube, you had mentioned a show that you had watched, Unorthodox.
Oh yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that one? Yeah. So I had seen that show also, although I had watched another show before it, and it's kind of along similar lines. It's an Israeli show called Shtisel, and they did 2 seasons. There's supposed to be a 3rd season, but I guess it's been delayed because of all this.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal. They have an ensemble cast.
SCH or just SH? SHTISL.
SEL, I think.
SEL. Shtisel.
Yeah.
And what does it mean?
It's the name of one of the main characters, the fatherly figure, and he and his son are kind of the 2 main characters.
Right.
And it's just like a human story about family and people, but it takes place in this ultra-Orthodox community in Israel. And what I liked, like there was this difference I noticed between the 2 shows where when you're watching Unorthodox, it seems pretty obvious that they're making a lot of commentary on that community. With this show, I mean, you can kind of like watch it and observe, and it's like you're looking into this community where it's like in another time.
Yeah.
But it's just stories about people, and the acting's phenomenal. The stories you can really connect with it.
I love the idea. I love the idea of it.
I mean, it was interesting.
Great premise. It's a great idea.
Right. And that is someone's story. Like that was based on a true story, at least the first part of it, Unorthodox.
Yeah. No, cool. I'll watch Diesel. Where do you find it?
I guess I was just watching Netflix, or I had it on, and I guess I probably saw it. And I do kind of have an interest in like sheltered communities and also like cults, like even like North Korean stuff.
Yeah.
All those little like worlds that are just like you couldn't ever imagine.
Now that is fascinating to me that you have that interest, because I think everybody has that interest on some level. What draws you to those kind of closed communities, those little kind of very inward looking communities?
I just kind of like cultures, I guess, and getting inside different mindsets, and maybe also the area I grew up in, there's a lot of Amish communities not so far from here. So
yeah,
that was something that I was exposed to and kind of would think about on some level, like, how can they live like that? And what must it be like? And what must they think of us? And, all those questions.
That's really interesting. We could talk quite a long time about that. I wish we'd started talking about that, because I'm going to miss talking a bit more about that. But that kind of, I wonder, I see certainly like Amish community. It's just, Witness the movie or a bunch of other things. It's a great movie, but there seems to be, to me, a very stereotypical look at this community. And I'm not sure if it really is. I don't know if they have these situations. Everything has to be, it can be mechanical, it can't be motorized, if I'm not mistaken.
They can't have a telephone in their house, but I think they can like put it outside, and like I think they keep the telephone in the outhouse out there. But yeah. But
okay, that's okay. With the Xbox and the other stuff.
Oh, and they'll have a generator so that they can have a refrigerator so that they can keep their food fresh.
Yeah.
And the rules differ from community to community, or what do you call it? Like the different churches.
Yeah.
There's different orders.
Do you know anything about the community? I mean, is it Protestant?
Oh, it's Anabaptist.
So a Protestant derivative.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I'd love you to come back and talk more about it.
And actually, on my mother's side, her father's family was originally Mennonite, which is kind of like related to the Amish. In fact, they came first, but they're not as strict.
Right. Until very recently, I didn't even know what a Mennonite was. It sounds like a fossil, but I know it isn't. But there's a fossil with a similar name, and it never occurred to me that it was a movement, a religious movement.
And there's some Mennonites that dress a lot like the Amish, though they'll have like patterns in their clothes. And there's other Mennonites that are very modern, and they might just like have a simple head covering.
I think we have a neighbor, someone very close to here, who I think must be Mennonite, and they all wear frocks. I want to be disparaging, but but to give a picture of it, the Little House on the Prairie, that sort of very old-fashioned late 19th century kind of prairie look. And that might be what they are, because it's pretty cold sometimes here, and they're still got these delightful, pretty frocks on. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look Mennonite up, because my wife said the name and I didn't really look it up. Listen, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I'm really glad we got into that subject. I'd love to learn more about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come back and talk again.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay. Next, we are going to go talk to Jules.
Hi.
Jules, hello.
Hi.
Where are you?
What's up?
Oh, beautiful looking room. My goodness. It looks like a black wall, but it might be brown.
It's like a very dark blue, because when I was like 13 years old, I repainted my bedroom, and at the time, I thought it was like very cool to be goth, which I still do think is cool.
It's pretty cool.
So I wanted actually to paint my walls black, but my parents were like, you're not allowed to do that. So I went with like a dark blue, and now it kind of has this cozy vibe.
Oh, it really is great. We had an apartment in New York once for half a second when we finished Star Trek, and we painted the walls the blackest of gray, like really dark, and we had black carpets.
Oh,
and
very cool.
We did it was really cool, because our art was so colorful. It just went boom, bang, and it's doing the same behind you. It's incredibly good for artwork, that really dark walls. So where are you?
I'm in Iowa.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Iowa on the news these days?
A little bit. It's popping.
The virus is popping.
I'm afraid so. What are you up to? What's going on in your world? I mean, are you a student? Are you finished with all that? I mean, I can't tell age very well.
I graduated from college in 2019, so I've kind of been out in the world.
Newly into the big wide world.
Yes, exactly.
And it's not treating you very well, is it?
Well, I'm having a good time still.
Okay, good.
I'm having fun out in the world. I was living in Chicago for a little bit, and then when shutdown started happening, I decided to come home. So I'm living with my whole family here. And at the time I was like, I'm just going to come check in on family for a couple weeks, see like how everyone's doing. And I've totally just stayed put since. But I feel like at this point in lockdown, things are actually going pretty well for me, because like at the beginning, there was such a sense of chaos, and like I was really feeling an urge to kind of like get back out there in the world. And now I feel like I'm very much at peace with like staying quarantined for now, especially as we're like going into winter. And I've like really, really zoned in on my quarantine projects and hobbies. So
tell me what they are. I'd be very curious to know.
I'm really into knitting right now.
Oh my goodness. We have
and I'm really
here.
Yeah, I'd say I'm inching out of the beginner category.
Nice.
So I've been doing some hats lately. That's my big passion project. And that's like a pretty big deal.
Have you got any around? No one's going to be critical, but I just want to see what kind of thing you have.
Here's my latest project.
That's beautiful. That's really cozy.
I love cozy, and I love chunky yarn.
That's really great. I think you're more than inching out of beginner. That's really, really cool. Really excellent.
Thank you so much. I learned how to bake bread over this whole lockdown. I know that's been kind of like a popular thing with
it's
a
an
lot of
essential
people at
thing.
home.
It's a great thing. Yeah.
It's so great. I love it. I love like seeing the way that things form by your own hand, and like seeing the way that flour of all things can become
It's
loaf of bread.
pretty amazing, isn't it? I made pasta
It's
last night, and it's pretty similar. I mean, you just add
oh,
egg
that's amazing.
and flour, and you mash it all together, and then you cook it. And it's like, wow.
Do you have one of the machines, like a spaghetti maker?
No. Oh yeah, a rolly thing to make it really flat. Because rolling pin, we made ravioli, so I made ravioli, so it's got to be so good.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
it just is so delicious when you just made it. It's just like, wow. It takes 2 seconds to cook, and it's done. Really tasty.
That sounds so fun.
Hard work.
I don't have one of the rollies though, so that's why I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, you need to get a rolly thing. I mean, I'm sure it may have a name, but it might be actually rolly thing.
Well,
I think if you look up rolly thing online, you'll get just pasta machines everywhere.
okay, great. I'm doing it. I was gonna ask you. You really like cooking, right?
Yeah, I do. I really like it.
That's been something that's another one of my projects as
It's
of
a
late.
really wonderful project. I mean, I think it just is so much more than just making food.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to try and find time and energy to start. We made this really amazing. Well, I didn't make it, but group in the club made this amazing recipe book. It's 100 and something pages, and it's got everybody's favorite family recipe in it. And they really need to be made. They're crying out to be made. So I've got to start at some point so I can say that, here, this is it. This is the first one. We've done that.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely need to download it.
Yeah. And
I love finding new recipes.
Do you have a way to film yourself making things?
Yeah.
Then that's what we should all do. We should all film ourselves making these recipes.
I think that would be so fun and announce whose recipe you're making, what you're making.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll become famous just amongst us. That's the only fame they need.
Oh.
So what are you planning to do when all this blows over?
That's a good question. And I feel like being in a quarantine has like really made me rethink what I want to do and what I want to be doing. I feel like there's been a lot that has come into my life that wouldn't have really happened had I not come home for a lockdown.
Yeah.
So over the summer, I actually worked on a garden outside.
Right.
And it was a job that I used to do when I was like in high school and some summers in college. I would just like kind of go for a summer and help out at this garden. And so I never really thought that I'd be back there. And then here I am back at home because of this virus.
Yeah.
And so I reached out and I got that job back again.
Oh, fantastic. What did you study in college, if you don't mind me asking?
I studied anthropology, actually.
Oh, wow. I studied anthropology a long, long time.
Well, and so what I always liked about anthropology is that it's so much about people and cultures. And that's always been, I mean, I always do want to work with people. But I feel like lately I've had such a greater appreciation for the way that gardening is about people. And so I really want to continue doing that. My dream is to work on a garden.
What's the weather like in Iowa?
We have like very intense seasons.
That's tough on plants. Plants don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
They like temperate, like predictable weather.
Yeah, summers are good. I'm still helping out at the garden, and we've moved in a bunch of plants that were outdoors are now kind of like house plants for the winter. So yeah, I really want to just like keep gardening, and I really hope to get into
habits. These are so many wonderful things you should be pursuing. They're just all creative and brilliant and useful. That's fantastic. So clearly you love the practical. You love things that you can just stretch and move around in and eat and throw in the air and make grow and all that sort of stuff.
I do. I love being in it. And like I have a new appreciation, I feel like newer in my life that's developed, where I see the way that all these things connect to people, because as growing up, I wasn't even that interested like in science. And I feel like now I understand so much more. Like food is such a great thing that connects people. You know, like we all eat, and food is so important to so many cultures. And that's what I like about gardening too, is knowing that you're growing something that's going to go feed people. Yeah, and I hope to get into like food justice and helping to get food to people.
Did you hear the young person who was talking last week about being an entomologist? And I think she'd finished university, and she was now working towards being in the NGO sector. She was just finishing it. She's finishing college. And she says that planting native plants is one of the best ways of getting the planet back on track.
Yeah.
Because that's what was here before we got here, messed everything up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's amazing. Love the earth, love the environment. All about healing it.
Yeah. Well, Molly. I just got corrected in the chat. I don't often look at the chat, but I thought if I had a little sneak look down, because you can always see if I'm looking down at the chat. Thank you, Molly. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Molly.
And so, yeah, you're on the right. I can tell you're on the right track. You are doing everything right. You are giving yourself all the right opportunities, the right tools to deal with this crazy planet. I don't envy your youth. I mean, I respect it, and I can't wait to hand over the reins. But part of the reason I don't envy it is that there are some things that are have been mangled recently. Mm-hmm. One of the things that has been mangled like a piece of gum is the truth. And our sense of truth has been chewed so hard that the flavor has left. You know, remember when you were a kid and you had a piece of gum and it was like, that was really good for about 10 seconds. And then now it's just a piece of raggedy old gum. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what's happening to the truth in the world right now. And you've got a real responsibility to try and reestablish it. And by doing things that are just so truthful, like knitting, like cooking, like gardening, irrefutable, you could be doing the world a favor, because my goodness, I'm disappointed in how we've dealt with the truth this past few years.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good out in the world too, and a lot of people who are working for good. Absolutely. And I always remember them.
Yeah, they're around.
Definitely.
They're working hard too.
Very much, yeah.
Absolutely. How do you find home? I mean, I know you must find it really nice because you've moved back and decided to stay back. And in these circumstances, when probably your whole family is, I don't know if you have siblings, mm-hmm. They're all kind of congregated in the same space, in their rooms or what have you. Do you find people have got a clearer understanding, a greater respect for the home as a space, as opposed to the kind of work? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think home is so important, just like a feeling of home, right? Which I think can be in people. And like in my home and like my physical home, we have a lot of people. There's 5 people right now, and we have 4 animals.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just really nice to be with each other, and especially in conditions like this, knowing that we have to look out for each other. Yeah. I guess we find home. I mean, it is interesting because I left and I never thought I would be living at home again, like with my parents. And it was kind of weird at first to come back. And in some ways, I would kind of get in my head and be like, this is a step back, just because I was like, I'm out here in the real world. Yeah. And I was like, oh, am I just like taking a step back? But there's also a different relationship you develop with your family later in life, I think.
It's friendlier, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I think. I mean, my son's 24, just hit 24 this year, and I'm kind of friends with him as much as anything. Yeah. And occasionally he'll ask me something that a dad has to answer, or a parent has to answer, but I'm friends.
Yeah, I'm 23, so it's like a similar vibe with my parents, I think. Absolutely. It's really interesting because I never really thought I would be spending truly this much time with my parents. Pretty much like after graduation, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And it's really nice though. We're developing these relationships more.
I love that.
And we're bonding so much, and
that's really cool. You said a great example. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for coming to talk to us as well. And come back and say hi again. We want to keep tabs on everybody.
Okay, I'll be here.
Great.
Cool. All right, we're going to talk to Virginia next.
Hi, Virginia.
Hey, how are you?
Very good indeed, thank you. How are you, much more importantly?
I'm fine. Kind of hot now because we're starting summer here, so it's the other way around. So
where are you? Are you in South America, South Africa? South America.
Yes, I'm South America. Yes, I'm from Argentina. So
goodness.
yeah,
Wonderful.
it's I live in one of the biggest cities, not Buenos Aires. It's another one, and well, it gets really really hot here. I hate it so much.
I bet.
But
Are you in the city or are you in the countryside?
yes, I'm in the city, like kind of a bit far of everything. Like, but yeah, it's really nice. I'm not. I mean, it's kind of far, but I can get anywhere like
Right.
really really quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really nice.
And what's the mood in the country? Because now winter's coming to an end. Everyone's getting happier.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because people are kind of starting to forget about everything, every restriction. So I live my city. It has really big beaches, and so this past week, which was the very first hot week, there were many people on the beach,
Lying out there.
and yeah, and just nobody had any mask on. And so it was really really frightening. They're really far from me. I don't live near the beaches, but still frightens me. But still cases in my city are going down, so that's really really cool. But yeah, people are like on the street in my neighborhood, nobody wears a mask unless they have to go in a store. It's crazy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess the good news is you're coming into summer.
Yes.
But you got away with it so far, because I don't think it's not terrible in Argentina, is it?
No, it's getting better now. So we've been in lockdown since March. We start school year in March, and so we never had any class at any school or at any uni or anything. So everything has been done online. So from the beginning of the year, we've been in lockdown, even when cases were not too high here. So my city was doing pretty good up until I think August was when things started going really, really bad. Like, I don't know, 4,000 cases a day or something like that. And it was pretty bad. But yeah, so it's getting better, which is really a relief.
How is your family okay?
Yeah, they're okay. I live with one of my sisters. I have two sisters and a brother, and I live with one of them and my parents. And so, say in the front of my house, it's my grandma's house, and so she lives there with my aunt. And between the two households, only my sister is not at risk, let's say, because I have a respiratory condition, and my parents are over 60, and my aunt is over 60, and my grandma is 86, and so we've been really, really careful. And
Right.
my brother works in a lab, and he has to come in contact with COVID samples every day.
Uh-oh,
So
right.
that is really scary.
Yes.
But he's getting tested every week, so that is reassuring.
Yeah, very, very. And he doesn't live at the house. He lives somewhere else.
No. Yeah, he lives in an apartment.
So what is your normal day like?
I mean, I only took one subject this year, so I didn't have much to do for uni. So I pretty much just wake up at noon, and then we have lunch, and we've been, since May, we've been having lunch and dinner every day with a different Star Trek show. So we started in May with the original series, and we finished DS9 on Sunday. Everybody cried. I cried a lot. I mean, I cry with everything. So I see my cat and I cry because I love him. So started Voyager yesterday. That's pretty much all I do every day, watch Star Trek. And then I don't know, I play guitar and I love singing and writing songs. And so that's my afternoons.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're in really dangerous territory, because if you love singing and writing songs, you know the kind of person I am. I'm going to ask you to come back and sing us a song one day.
Yes, I will. I mean, this is my third meeting here. I've only known about this whole thing for a week.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
And so I I'm going to have to come back and sing sometime. And so I've been preparing a song from I think my city's biggest artist. I sing a lot in English because I've been studying English since I was 4. I'm 26 now, so I've been studying English all my life.
You have
So I sing a lot. Thank you so much. But I thought it was good to prepare something in Spanish that could represent my city and my country.
That would be just lovely.
Yes, yes.
That is wonderful. Well, on your own time, when you want to, drop Mel a line and come and sing us a song. We'd love it.
Yes.
What do you cook? What do you eat as a family? What do you eat?
My sister and I really love cooking. I cook a lot. I prefer baking. I was listening to you when you said you made pasta, and I made pasta about a month ago. Pasta is not something that I've never been very good at it, but that time, like a month ago, they came out really good. So I was really, really proud. Yeah, we cook everything because I love food from all over the world. So I try to bring something different every time I cook. I really love making risotto. So that's kind of my specialty.
What do you think the food that in Argentina is most proud of? What do you think the thing that is, you want Argentinian food, this is what you should eat?
Definitely steak, definitely barbecue. It's called asado. Our meat is known all around the world, and we are very, very proud of it. We are usually very proud of everything that comes out of Argentina. And our meat, yeah, we really love our own thing, you know. So we're very, very passionate, especially about football.
Maradona, you know, you have this great
Yes.
footballer, Maradona, who
Yes.
is the best ever of all time.
Well, he played in my club. I mean, he played in my club 5 games. He played 5 games, but I don't care. He still played in my club.
He did, the great
And
deal.
Messi was born here too, in my city.
How come one country has the 2 greatest footballers that ever lived?
I have no idea, but I'm so glad. And I'm so glad they both played for this club. Sorry, I'm very passionate about football. I really love it. And I love watching football from all around the world, especially the Premier League. I love the Premier League.
I love it too. I watch it whenever I can. What do you study at college?
I am actually studying to become an English-Spanish translator.
Oh,
so
wow. Fantastic.
It's actually the second thing I've studied, because I didn't graduate, but I did like 2 or 3 years of biochemistry. That's right. I studied a few years of that. My mom is a biochemist and my brother is one too. And so
That's a big change. How did you change? Because you had to learn so much to get 2 years of chemistry and then to change to linguistics.
Yes, it was kind of hard, but I've loved it all my life. I love science, and I've always said I wanted to study biochemistry. But when I was there, I don't know, I just felt kind of stuck. Like I couldn't move past a few subjects. Like I just couldn't get it inside my head. I couldn't understand.
Fall in love.
Yeah. And so I when I was 21, I decided to switch careers and I started studying the other thing. It's been 5 years since I started, and it's a 3-year career. But well, I had my surgery in between, so.
And then COVID.
Yeah. Actually, I passed more finals this year than I've ever passed. So it's weird. I thought it wasn't going to be like that, but I've been, because of my knee and all, I've been very used to staying at home a long time. So it's, for me, it's like more of the same.
Absolutely. What would you say, it just in an abstract way, but not, you don't have to tell me about the love of your life or anything like that. But what do you think love is? What do you think it's about? What do you think what's the point of it?
I've been thinking about this answer. For me, it's what makes me get out of bed every day, because as I said, here we are very passionate, and I consider myself a very passionate person, and I can't conceive my life without love.
Yeah.
I'm so full of love for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Mainly science fiction, but it's just something that makes me do everything. Everything I do it because I love it. I don't really do things I don't love, which is not great when you live with 3 other people. But when I do things and I love those things, I really do them well because I love it. So it's
love,
just my way of looking, of seeing life. It's through love.
I get it. I think if you don't mind me paraphrasing you, I think that love for you is a bit like the electricity that keeps you alive, like the power in your body.
Exactly.
That's really nice. Love that.
Thank you. Oh, before I forget, my mom is looking at me and she wanted me to say thank you because Star Trek, and especially DS9, it's become everybody's favorite show in my house. I don't know where we would be right now without Star Trek, because it's basically kept us sane this whole quarantine, which has been longer here than in many places.
Yeah.
And so Star Trek for us became that thing that brought us together every single meal. And even after we finished episodes, we would discuss and say our theories about the future, and we still do that every day. And even though I don't know, we watched Next Generation months ago and we still talk about it. We still miss the characters, and I even put them all up on my wall. So
it's fantastic.
I don't know if it's visible, but I've got Julian there. I've got Data. I've got Spock. They're my 3 favorite characters. So I've got them all in my wall.
Oh, that's great.
It's
well, please tell her that it's our privilege to perform.
Yes, I will.
We're really glad. It keeps the family in Argentina talking away every lunchtime.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you very much. Come back and do the song whenever you want.
Yes, I will.
We won't tell you
so
when.
much.
You just tell us when.
Thanks, Virginia. I love that.
Me too.
All right, Kathy, we're going to you next.
Kathy.
Yeah, it's me.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I am. I mean, I'm a bit concerned. I mean, I was quite concerned in March because I was a little bit worried that I didn't know much about this virus and no one did. And so, you know, I worked really hard not to get exposed. It turns out my chances of being exposed back in March were much lower than they are now. That worries me a little bit, just in terms of probability. You know, it has grown by an enormous amount. It's beginning to look less likely that I'm not going to get infected, which is really concerning.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sort of where I'm a homebody anyway, but this is starting to wear on me.
Yeah, sure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, everybody. My goodness.
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
On your bucket list, is there a place that you'd like to go visit?
There are several places. I would love to go visit China. I've never been.
Yeah.
That would really excite me. I would love to go to South America. We were just talking to Virginia in Argentina. I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years and never went south of the border. Can you believe that? I never went central.
You didn't go to Mexico?
No. And
wow.
I wish I had, because I've grown really fond of Mexico since then, now that I've learned a bit about the art of Mexico and some of the things that I love about Mexico. But all I knew was kind of whatever was the LA version of Mexico or the Texan version of Mexico, which so I didn't feel I needed to go there. But now I knew that there's so much more depth to Mexico than that. So I would love to go to South America. I'd like to start in Patagonia and work my way upwards. Where would you like to go? Where would you like to? What would be?
Actually, it is China because I'm half Chinese, but I've always been interested in the history.
Yeah.
And even going to Hong Kong. I used to work for a doctor who went there to get his suits, because apparently you can get really nice suits there for not very expensive.
Famously.
But I'd like to go to China and Hong Kong just because I want to try the authentic kind of food, not the food that's here, because they said that the food that's in China is not anything like here.
I'm sure that's true.
Or even going to the Philippines or something.
Yeah.
I want to use my passport.
Use your passport. Absolutely.
I haven't used it yet.
Goodness
But,
gracious me. That's the whole point of having a passport. You've got to use them.
Yeah, once I was going to go with Gail to England but then my mother got sick, so
Yeah, I remember.
got stuck. Yeah, so I was thinking about that. The subject you were talking about, love.
Yeah.
I actually think what represents love to me is a love of a child or a pet, because their love is unconditional.
Sure.
And the pet, it doesn't matter what kind of day you have. When you get home, it's happy to see you and wants to play with you.
Yeah.
I've read a book once. It's called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Right.
And it's a really interesting book because it tells you about the 5 different languages. I wrote it down here with word of affirmation.
Yeah.
Quality time, receiving gift, act of service, and physical touch.
That's true.
So it was a really nice book to read.
Absolutely. I love that.
So,
that's really cool, Kathy. Yeah, I think that is certainly a very pure form of love. It's certainly children that can be a little bit fickle, if I remember correctly. And they're like, I hate you, I love you. I hate you, I love you.
Well, not when they're young. When they get older, they start to ignore you.
Yeah, there's something about really kind of, it's a positive transactionalism between certainly an animal and a person, but also people and people. It's just a bit more complicated with people because a lot of different emotions come into play, and languages. When you get rid of languages, it changes a lot of stuff. Although my wife will tell me that she swears our dogs can understand English.
I'm sure they do.
She chats to them like they're people, and I'm like, sure, you know, this is a dog. Yeah.
You mean you don't talk to your dog like a person?
Sometimes.
I talk to my cat like a person.
I do.
But our picture together when the very first time I met you in 1998 in San Diego.
Yeah.
And then the last one with you and me and Gail.
It was
at the
couple
convention.
of years ago. Yeah.
Yes, we did that. And then I also set a picture because one of your other person you talked to was talking about diamond painting.
Yes.
And I've done a whole lot of those because I'm bored. So when you're bored, you do things like that.
Good. You should. We should be bored more often then.
You wanted to also see pictures of us as children.
Yes.
And
of course.
Because I have two brothers and a sister's pictures are always like 4 in a row.
Right.
And my mother seemed to like to put you in order.
Okay.
So we were always in order.
That's very organized.
Yeah, my mom, she had her kids every 14 months, except for the last 2, which were 12 months apart.
Oh, wow. She accelerated.
Yeah.
Wow.
That must have been hard.
Can I ask how many kids she had altogether?
We have 4. And then I have a half brother from my father's second wife.
Right.
But
yeah. And when did you meet your half brother?
We met him when he was 10 or so. Now that he's older, we see him all the time.
Right. So it's a great relationship.
We see each other all the time. And right now his mother had a couple strokes. So it's he's taking care of that part.
Let me bring it up because I have 2 half brothers. I have 3. I mean, my Thomas, I don't think of him as a half brother, so I forget him all the time. He's my brother. You know, he was born in the house that I was already living in, so it was pretty easy to get to know him. But the other 2 half brothers, I didn't meet until I was well in my 40s.
Oh, wow.
And that was pretty crazy. That's been very hard to figure out how to get, and they're Sudanese, obviously. Well, not obviously, but they're Sudanese. And they've emigrated to various countries looking for ways to work and things. And it's been really difficult figuring out how to kind of, be family. It's quite hard to just become family with someone who you don't really realize is your family.
Yeah, it was kind of hard because my dad's second wife wasn't too happy with us.
Yeah.
So my dad sneaked him a lot to visit us, and we were a lot older than he was.
Right.
And it wasn't until actually he grew up for him to start wanting to have a relationship with the rest of us because he's an only child. So he started coming to visit us. And then it was slow, but now it's just like he's just another brother.
Great.
Another irritating brother sometimes, but brother. Well, they're all younger than me, so
yeah,
they're all irritating.
Absolutely, of course.
So
you get to say that. Well, Kathy, let's get those photos together. Come on back and talk us through them.
I will.
All right.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about this Star Trek thing gave me my very close and oldest friend, which you know her as Gail.
Absolutely.
And it's funny because we're going on, oh shoot, I don't know how long now. She's been a really great friend.
Yeah.
And you too.
You.
Whenever we get to see you, we have a good time.
Well, you and Gail deserve each other.
So
thank you for
yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So
come on back.
Okay. I will do that.
Yeah.
But I have something that I wanted to read to you. I've been seeing a lot of quotes.
Okay.
And this quote here really got to me. A person should only be concerned with 3 stages in life: past, present, and future. Since what's happened has happened, why worry about the past? Since whatever is going to happen, you can't know, why worry about the present? Since whatever is going to happen is yet to happen, why worry about the future?
Very wise words indeed.
Yep.
Terrific. Well, I'm a live in the present kind of person, so I like that stuff.
Well, basically, it's like that was that song, "Don't Worry, Be Happy."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, Kathy, and you too. And I'll see you next time, or whenever we can get back in.
Okay.
Yeah, please try that again. I'm not sure what happened. It sounds like maybe our email addresses are not communicating. All right. I'm going to have Rose jump in here for a sec. She's on a panel. Tell me about that again, Rose.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a panel on Thursday. So this panel is one that I'm doing with the Japan Foundation of New York, because I study anime soundtracks, and I'm one of only a few people, I think, in the world who does that kind of stuff academically. So I'm on a panel with 2 other professors who are studying it too.
Oh my goodness, fantastic. What it strikes me is that you could give us a little one of these weeks, because we're kind of going to be here for a bit, a little potted history, a little map around the world of your imagination in this territory, in this world, and just teach us a little bit about what to look out or listen out for in terms of soundtracks and music, and how all that works in this particular genre, this particular anime area. That'd be really fascinating to me, because I don't know if I've ever had a key in. I don't know if someone's unlocked the door for me to go, oh my goodness, this is where, oh my God, wow, that'd be really cool.
I could do that. I did do special interest talks in this group. I did do one on the history of film music more generally, but yeah, I'd love to do that specifically for anime.
Specifically the thing that floats your boat, I would like to hear more about.
Yeah, I'm excited about this talk because I talked about how music is used as world building in science fiction TV, which is a thing I've gotten really into discussing in my research lately, because partly because I've also been watching Star Trek and other stuff too, but it's probably the Wagner enthusiast in me. But I always get really excited when music and film and TV is tied into setting and characters and that sort of thing.
Yeah, this isn't for you necessarily, but for some of the other people who might be interested in this, there is a series of lectures given by Leonard Bernstein. I think they're on YouTube because they were on TV and I got them on video.
Yeah, I think I have VHSs of those.
That's exactly what I got. And they're pretty wonderful. Although we don't see eye to eye on some things, I believe that music is much more metaphorical than he allows. But I recommend people watch that if they're interested in unlocking a little bit about symphonic music, particularly. But anyway, that's an aside. Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say about that, but I
just interrupted you. I just steamrolled your conversation.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Probably that means you're really excited about it, probably. So I take it as a compliment. It's been interesting getting back into this, especially because I've been doing my dissertation, which is also on anime soundtracks, but not in this one specifically. Right. And so when I wrote this book, I had to not only watch this entire show multiple times and
I have these spreadsheets for like doing a close reading of every scene that has music in it. But I also had to watch a bunch of other stuff that influenced it. And one of the things I had to watch was the movie Dirty Harry. So I was rewatching that with the social club because they all wanted to see what Andy looked like when he was that young.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
I bet it was a lot of fun. Well, it'll
Yeah.
be really exciting for me personally, and I hope it will be for other people, to just get an insight into how this music works in anime, and just walk us through it like, we're children, and that we need to understand. You need to unlock it for us so that we go, oh, that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
That would be just fascinating for me. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole soundtrack world is fascinating because it's as an actor, obviously, I'm more so if I were a director, but as an actor, it's always interesting to see what happens when you do a performance and, you get all emotional and blah, 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 and you do stuff that you hope you never have to repeat again in your life. And then someone puts a soundtrack on it, and just doing something frivolous with the soundtrack destroys the performance.
I feel like I learned so much about film from watching bad movies, because especially when film music is bad and it just doesn't work with everything else, you see it so much better how film is made when, it's not seamless, when you can really see the seams and they're not very good.
It's true. That's absolutely true. And I'm sure I've made one or two of those. Yeah, I learned a lot from terrible movies when I was younger. Especially because my passion was directing at the time when I was really young. And I'm like, I know what not to do. Surely this is going to be fine. So yeah, and that would be the same, I think, in pretty much any art form that you can look at bad art. I don't really know what that is, to be honest. Bad art is harder to define because there is no such thing as good or bad art.
I always have students who are like, they come into my classes wanting to learn like good musical taste, what that means, or with movies when I teach film music. And it's like, I can't really tell you that. I can kind of give you the clues to like better analyze your own existing taste, but we're not really here to tell you music is good or bad. We're here to sort of explain why music is the way it is,
But
regardless
there are
of how you...
bad movies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There is no wriggling away from it. There are terrible films out there, and they are good fun to watch with a friend.
Yeah,
they're like hilarious.
Yeah. Speaking of music, my friend, when he did these, he would often have these like songs that were silly sounding that he would put over the soundtrack of whatever we were watching and make it even funnier. I think it taught me a lot about how to analyze film.
One of the most influential people in my life, who I never met, is a critic, and his name is Kenneth Tynan, and he was a British theatre critic back in the 60s and 70s. I say he's one of the most influential people in my life. I read a biography of his by his widow, his wife, who survived him. And I fell in love with that man. And I highly recommend that you read, if you're interested in criticism.
Yeah, I am.
His criticism was of such an edifying level, so informative and so philosophically interesting. He was kind of one of the critics that made Laurence Olivier, for example. People were needed like as critics like that. His wife was called Kathleen. Goodness knows how she lived with him. He's a very difficult person. But I absolutely kind of worship the ground he walked on.
How do you spell his last name?
Tynan.
I'll check that out. I went to a music critic workshop a couple of years ago. It was a classical music critic thing, and I got to like meet a bunch of my favorite classical music critics.
Oh, fun. That's really cool. Well, I'm looking forward to the next chapter of this, and come back and give us a little, just, let us into your mind a little. We'd love to, love to explore.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Rose. We appreciate it.
Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
We are working on doing a presentation in December with Rose. So
fantastic.
Just wanted to show everybody what Steve's been working on while we've been sitting here.
Steve, my goodness.
He did that, I think, from sketch to finished product.
Wow, that's fantastic, my friend. That's really cool.
Wow.
Wow. That's the quickening. Am I being totally ignorant? I think it's the quickening.
It is, yeah.
And one of my favorite chili sauces right there.
Yes, the quickening.
I got a noise out of him.
Sorry, I just unmuted myself.
Nice one, Steve.
I was not expecting to have to speak.
No, you don't have to speak. It's unfair of me. That is just brilliant. The crosshatch, it's just fun. You're such a good artist, my God.
Thank you.
Really are a great draftsman.
No, it's because the first time I talked to you, I asked you what your favorite virus episode of DS9 was.
Yeah.
The quickening. So we're working that into our comic.
Oh, that's fantastic. It looks really, really great, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just saw you working on that over the last couple of hours and was hoping we could get a shot of it. So
No problem. It was all during the show. I started.
I'd love to be able to watch that. See, I have. Thank you, Steve. That's lovely.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Have a great night or day wherever you're at.
Yeah, whatever's going on.
And we'll see you next time.
Fabulous week.